Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Bridge. We got one guest that's hopefully be joining us in a little bit. Excuse me. Oh man, I gotta do that all over again. Yeah, we had we had one guest that will hopefully be joining us in 1 minute. But tonight's show we're gonna tackle the Black Messiah, the story about the assassination of uh, Fred Hampton. And I want to give us a little time to see if um, for our other person to join us. So I'm gonna talk about something that happened today. We had a couple of deaths to happen. Um, Fact checker, can you throw them at me right quick?
Bunny Wheeler,
Bonnie, of course, Bonnie Willer.
Bunny Wheeler, and I think Bill Clinton's lawyer.
Yes, but
I didn't know about that one until this evening. Vernon.
Vernon Jordan, civil rights advocate and Clinton's lawyer. So, and then what else transpired that happened over the weekend?
Oh well, what else was happening over the weekend? Well, I guess this week started. You know, um, I guess in terms of politics, you know, Senate hearings on the for the riots. Um, I think today the administration pulled the plug on tandem for budget chief. So I guess they're going to have to nominate somebody else because I guess the hypocritical other side seems it's and Mr. Manchin feels that somebody's quote unquote mean tweets is too much. And yes, the stimulus bill was passed by the House, so let's make
But
sure see if the Senate gets to do what they should do and need to do in
uh, but we
their budget reconciliation bill.
but you know that's politics. They're gonna play with it a little bit back and forth. Have the people looking
Wait,
at them sideways.
hmm highways and byway. People are going to be still wondering whether or not their unemployment will run out next week after next.
So,
Uh, will they
the,
be getting any funds? Will small businesses be able to recoup? Will they actually target true small businesses to get monies, to get loans and forgivable loans and gig and I know they're also going to be a new program for gig workers, self-employed people. More self-employed people should be able to get more monies, PPP loans, forgivable loans, starting I think towards the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken.
we need
They've updated the program.
we need to see about that because I'm a gig worker.
Okay,
I think all us are gig workers.
exactly. So they revamped the program a little, and they're saying if you're looking to get to not put your paperwork through until sometime later this month if you're trying to apply for PPP for gig and self-employed businesses.
But they I know the personally I got a letter from a small business and they was giving me like 15 days to get back with them.
Hmm.
So I'm like, uh, I'm working on that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, definitely last week, Deion Sanders just your season started. Ooh, 53 win. Where is he coaching at now?
Jackson State,
Ooh,
HBCU,
ooh,
and that
50.
was Mississippi, ain't it? Good old Mississippi. And I don't even know if they tried to clear that up, or that's when they stole his personal belongings after during the game.
He misplaced his shit, his bags. They made a big story out of it, and come to find out, they just misplaced his bags. He got his bags back.
I think that's just a cover up.
Okay, I guess when once it was known that this going viral, you better bring my stuff back.
Yeah, because I know because it was said that one of his assistants, because she was a woman, she saw the person taking it,
Oh, okay,
so it can't you can't and she couldn't do nothing about it. And so he was like, how I misplaced it if somebody saw
okay.
the
See, I
person
didn't know,
taking it.
I didn't know there was more to it now. See,
But I think they was trying to make it cover it up some. They're
Okay,
like, man, because truthfully, we know Dion don't have to be there, you know, but that's him giving back in a way, giving back.
right. So how is it that they it says their season started off? So I mean, which is it? Well, football. I'm definitely assuming, but which season is it? That it starts so early.
No, they started it late because of COVID.
Oh, so the conference that they're in is doing their football season now.
Yeah,
Okay, 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 okay.
that they didn't play during the regular time because of COVID.
My bad, my bad. Well,
They tried to take a practical.
okay. Well, that's definitely a good way to start your season off as the head coach. So yeah, 53-0. Sure, why not?
Yeah, but then to come back and say, "Man, they done took my wallet, my phone. I can't even call my wife to say, man, we put a whooping on them." Well, not his wife, his girl.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God, sports. Yeah, I haven't really watched any sports this in the last few weeks. Um, yeah, I haven't been paying much attention to a lot since Super Bowl. So in terms of, I know NBA All Stars this weekend. Which city is it in? You know,
I think this is one of the worst decisions that the NBA has made.
is it in Atlanta?
Yes, in Atlanta,
Ay ay ay.
and they already um, walk around freely. You have people that respect it and still wear their mask, but it's a lot of people. I've been in. I just recently came back from Atlanta, and I'm like, there are people around there like it's nothing going on.
Right.
And I see Texas also lift the mask ban
Yeah, the
that you
governor today, he was like, "Yeah, no mask mandate.
yeah
They're going to open up everything 100%."
100%, yes. I'm like, well, let's look at Texas.
Yeah,
Texas must be a good old guinea pig.
that's beer politics right there. Just like how the governor of North Dakota, was having was denying the fact that per was it per capita or per whatever it was, that her state had the worst um, numbers compared to other states in terms of one per every 500 person was dying in her state of North Dakota. You know, but she was on the online saying that everything was good. Tourism videos, come on over to North Dakota. I'll show you how to shoot, enjoy your vacation in North Dakota. So, yeah.
Cause that's those red states that still believe in them Trumpisms.
Well, it's funny enough that you're seeing, especially New York and LA, um, in terms of what's transpiring now with one with Cuomo and and the governor of LA, but specifically with Cuomo, and not for nothing when everybody was trying to get their wits about him. And granted, yeah, I'm sure there's probably every governor I think made a lot of missteps, including the governor here. But because it's not a red state, um, California and New York, you know, those are the two governors that they're looking to pull down. Um, whether they're truthful or not in terms of the credibility, that's up for the investigation to find out. Because we all know what hearsay or she said he said these days. So recall for the governor of LA, and they want Cuomo to resign. They want to impeach him and all kind of stuff too. But why now? Why now? You know,
Because they couldn't get their way with Trump in the office,
right?
so now they finna tear down the governors that they feel didn't have his back.
Well, yeah, that red state, yeah, all of that stuff. But I mean, New York is a strong Democratic state. So I mean, in terms of I'm sure who would run. I don't see them electing a Republican governor in New York if Cuomo was to step down, resign, or what impeachment, whatever whatever happens. I don't think he's going to resign either. Yeah, he's not. He's not going to resign.
Yeah, but let me see what else. So what he said? Oh, my governor. I don't have no governor. I have a person that's pretending
Pretending to be governor,
to be governor.
wanna be. Yeah.
Because
So
he doesn't know how to govern himself accordingly.
much less to govern the people.
Yes.
So yeah, come now there's you're starting to hear people mumble about um to investigate. There's a call. Maybe they need to make that a bigger call. Make it more make it louder in Florida.
Mhm.
They all need to be investigated.
Yeah.
A lot of malfeasance was committed. And a lot of things need to be answered, and there are questions that need to be answered, and things that need to be answered too. But in terms of elections next year, you're starting to hear certain names that are starting to float in terms of who will to challenge um, Mr. D. So one is Nikki Fried. Um, so agricultural. What's her position again? Nikki Fried. Forgot her. I forgot her position.
Nikki Free is what you said?
Agriculture and services.
She,
Yeah.
I'm being told that agriculture,
Yes, the
but
Commission of Agriculture.
I was talking about hey D-Tron, what you doing tonight?
Oh my God! I said, "Ooh, we like Nikki." Yeah, and she's starting to she's starting to yeah, Agriculture Commission. She's starting to make her voice. um, be a little louder. Um, she's starting to like she sounds like she's getting into into political mode again. And have her face be seen more, and so I think you're gonna start seeing her being a little bit more vocal, and hopefully the push for the support will probably start to swoon around her. I don't know who else would be capable, um, to to um, to step into that political position to run next year. So we'll see. I'm sure other names will come up, but right now she seems to be the name that's on people's lips and mouths. So we'll see.
Yeah, but I wanted to get back into your governor, how he I think that was last week. He made a trip down here into Hialeah,
To do what?
talk about the rollout of vaccinations in CVS and what else was that? What's the Spanish Navarro, the
Okay,
vaccination. But how do you come into a city and you don't even have the mayor there?
because it's not that important.
No, no, but you didn't invite the mayor, but you had somebody that's going to run for the mayor seat.
But you didn't actually invite you didn't invite the actual mayor that's in the seat.
Correct. But
Is the current mayor there a Republican or a Democrat?
I don't even know. But he was there. He
Uh,
was there in the audience. And when DeSantis finished saying what he had to say about the rollout, he approached the governor and he said, "I would like to speak."
wow.
and and when the I guess he took the podium. And while he was taking the podium, DeSantis left,
Uh oh.
and, and he began to speak to say he was not invited, but he has no problem helping helping with the rollout
Right.
because these are about the citizens in Hialeah.
Yeah, he's so disrespectful, man. He disrespects so many people left, right, and center every day. You know, is yeah.
But he wants to be Junior Trump.
Well, he's positioning himself supposedly to run for president in 2024.
Shh. Who?
DeSantis.
Who?
That is that is what they're all positioning themselves to do. That is why they all been kissing the ring, playing the part, staying in the lane that they need to stay in so that they don't piss off the group of people that that are now in the publics and the media, the people who are waiting in the wings and are supposedly going to be out on Thursday because 45 will be ascended to the throne again as and reinstated as the president March 4th. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are the people that you have to keep it, make sure that they stay in line behind you. So you got to play the game, and that's what they're all doing. They don't want to upset the people that's going to be there to support them. So I don't know if that means all 70 something million people, because you know it is what it is. But that's who they're placating to. So we'll see.
I'm a sidetrack something because I just saw Detron's comment. And sir, I saw you have a picture the other day, and you were surrounded with a lot of greenery around you. How
Well,
was
I guess that's his project.
that? That he looked like he no, but he was at a farm. So
ah, well,
We got to have you on the show to talk about that, sir. On one of these upcoming weeks, because I know that's a form that we need to get our people into, get us back into doing some agricultural the right way. He gonna make sure it's hemp, it's green.
Make sure what's what's green. Oh, we like open investment opportunity. We just, I'm sure you're doing all the legwork right now, and so you can provide us with some valuable information. So we will stay tuned, Mr. Peoples, and my ears is to the ground. Yes, I will be listening. Yeah, because, like you said, we all need to educate our one another. You know, so we
Each
all
one
can.
teach one.
Yeah, well, each one another. I'm just, laid it out like a yard man. We need to educate one another.
Okay,
So,
so let's go ahead and spin off into this topic about Judas and the Black Messiah and Fred Hampton. So
hmm
I watched the movie when it first came out. Boy, you on cue.
Yeah. AC. How y'all doing?
Mr.
All
Frank,
right.
Mr. Frank,
All right. Good evening. Good evening.
man, you're looking all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed like you just ate. You just had some dinner.
Yeah, man. I just ate real quick.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. We gotta do a little family time.
Yeah.
You roll right in, right when I was segueing right into it.
Okay.
So we gonna talk about this movie and how it should influence our community and help push us forward, and also make you more aware of how the government is still operating, even though they're going to tell you they don't operate like that anymore. It's still happening. So when you looked at the movie, what was your first thought, um, Irie?
So for me, I'm coming from a position of sort of being unlearned in a little bit. And I'm, you know, I guess a little bit ashamed and a little bit, unashamed to say it. But I had to watch the movie to understand, a lot about what was going on, and then the thing that started to grab me was seeing, how, especially at the time, and looking back at figures like Malcolm and Medgar and Martin, and to understand that if you start to become, if your voice as a black person starts to become too big, where you are on the verge of becoming more powerful than you're able to be contained, um, things will happen. And for as we've seen, it it leads to a permanent removal of yourself. You know, um, but I think the the community aspect of someone um, championing, the people, um, even albeit through revolutionary means. I think that really started to stick out. Um, and then to understand that this person was only 21 year 20, in his 20s. When he died he was 21. When he started a lot of this stuff, I guess he was, probably in his teens, or going up until he died. So that's the part that really struck me, how young he was.
That's one of the things that caught me too, because I look at it and say, when I was 21, could I have been doing this stuff? I might have had some of the mind state, but I didn't have all of the mind state.
Hmm.
I was pro black, but I wasn't pro black out there like that.
Hmm.
You know, because like I say, like if you know his story, he started off with the NAACP as for the youth,
Okay.
and he was organizing then. And if you and back then, he was already on the FBI watch list. And I'm
Okay.
like, you 17, 18 years old, and the FBI is already watching you in fear, in fear of your voice, in fear of you being able to move black people.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing exactly, what they were fearing. He was mobilizing, and not only was he getting support from within the community of black people, but to be joined by the lords, Puerto Rican group, and all, some of the other factions that were, coming together. That I think was even more fascinating to me. Um, as a voice that was reaching out into the community. You
No,
know.
I think what his greatest threat was for America system is how he went out and got white folks that wouldn't be that you would think they was hating us and organizing and putting them together to work together. And that's one of the reasons they were like, oh, we can't have this. I put it in there where this nigga getting us getting our folks to organize against us to bring the system down. We can't have that.
But I think I think from what the movie, that what he was starting to tap into, and to to sort of showcase to them, was that, hey, look, y'all are getting treated the same way too.
Hmm.
In certain respect, y'all are getting treated the same way too. So how you go put that aside, but still want to hate on us, and with your Confederate flags and all that stuff. But in a lot of instances, y'all are getting the same some of the same treatment too. Y'all are poor, and you know, and things ain't uh, bright and rosy for y'all. You know,
Hmm.
so try telling QAnon people that now.
They don't see that. They'll start talking about what Obama made it that way for them.
Oh, of course, yeah. I guess it went to hell in a handbasket in those 8 years. I would imagine, but I mean, even if that was the case, you still vote the same way you've been voting for. You haven't really voted for any change, because the people who you are putting your trust behind, they really have not come up with any policies and stuff and ideas that are so grand and beautiful. You know, what are the policies besides the hateful stuff? I mean, like we said, the election passed last year, and all we see is 200, almost 260 bills in 40 something states to that are in act, put on the floors of these, state senates to subvert and suppress, the black folks. And the crazy thing about that is that they're cutting off their nose to spite their to spite their face, because they're not just cutting off just black people when they do a lot of the things that they're planning on doing. They're cutting off their own people too. You know, um, but I think the movie, it was I wish it was like I wish it was more of a biopic, or where I could watch like two or three, several episodes, to see like a whole series, just to see the full life and the extent, of what he did. You know, it puts me in the mind of that family in Philadelphia, um, where they all went to jail, and they only just recently, all of them were released. Um, yeah, so Detroit for me, yeah, it was very. I got, as much as I didn't know, I got the feeling that the movie, yes, was watered down, but it just felt like there's just so much more that needs to be told. You know.
Well, I'm gonna say, Detron, they couldn't show how much the government was against Fred and the organization of black folks. You know
Mm,
that the projects that they had, how they was organizing the police. They don't care about them killing us. Just get just shut the voices up.
mm.
That and that's one of the things that they didn't want to show all that, because I think if they showed a movie on the Panthers period in Chicago, it would be very effective on Black history. To show the programs and how the city was fighting against them, and then the city implemented the very programs that the Panthers were doing, but you're still trying to fight them. But you're doing what they're doing now. You're trying to feed the kids, but once you destroyed the Panthers and took that power away, you stopped doing the programs. So you really never cared about the people. You were just trying to kill the acts that they were doing.
So basically, as you were saying, that things haven't really changed, in terms of how we see things happening in government, in terms of what they're, depending on, especially the powers that be, what their real interest is. Oftentimes, it's not just a feeling that you see it unfold in front of your eyes, in terms of what's important to certain sections of government and certain administration, especially this last administration. This administration wasn't for the people at all.
it,
This
it
this administration was not for the people at all.
wasn't for the government at all. It was for him.
Well, pretty much, yeah. Yes, yes, I do agree. And like I said, your statement, Detron, because you know, well, for someone who was not all that knowledgeable about the Black Panthers, to see that story. Now I'm wanting to learn more about, not just his story, but more about, the Black Panthers movement, and to see how it evolved and how it has changed now, in terms of what I think the mandate is, for the Black Panther Party.
I mean, I haven't seen the movie, and it's I'm interested to see it and learn more about it as well. Um, I just been busy with everything else, life and things like that. But I'm interested to see it. Once I get a break, I'll make it my business to see it. But I do. Um, I can probably agree with you on saying that when you see things more so in series, they tend to pull out more
Hmm.
and than just what we're used to, and that's a one shot movie.
Right. Yeah, I didn't just like I didn't get to see, a chance to see Billie Holiday, the Billie Holiday movie, but the same sort of idea, you know, um, this that same type of story was being told about her life and how the government chose to affect her life, um, in so many negative ways because of the voice that she wanted to have, and the message that she was trying to put out through her music, through her song, namely strange fruits, you know, and they did everything to subvert. And one of the things that I find interesting about a lot of these pieces and a lot of the stories, especially a lot of our story, black stories of black people and black individuals, is that it takes someone to say, you know what, I'm going to tell this story because it needs to be told because a lot of people probably don't know the story. Most of us, we know Billie Holiday, great singer, jazz clubs, and all that good sultry voice. Um, but do we know the stories, behind who those individuals were? Um, so seeing this movie now, hey, I want to learn more about who Fred was, and his work, um, you know, and just be more knowledgeable about that stuff. So yes, our series would definitely pull that out. And yes, I understand, it's movie, um, it's movie, and you can only fit so much, and maybe some of it is probably embellished a little bit. Who knows, but maybe you'll have more movies, that are telling stories about said individuals and able to expound more on the things that we really don't know or the things that were told one way, um but now we are getting people who are interested in telling the truth about those individuals and their stories.
Well, I think that I don't think you can say that it was embellished. I would agree with Detron when I say it was more watered down than anything. Yeah, yeah. What is Detron saying? Let me kick this to the prior to World War II. Most blacks lived in the South. Many of the most were also illiterate. To get black people to vote for the right candidate, a picture of a Black Panther was chosen versus the donkey or the elephant for Dems or Republicans. So that's the origin of the Black Panther Party, how they got their name.
Ah,
Yeah, when I read was reading, I knew that's what it was.
but so was it effective? I guess I guess it was effective for. I mean, I'm sure it was effective for recruitment purposes. But did it work? But then again, back then, how many of us were able to vote? We still were
Yes,
able to vote.
and that's the thing that if you was able to vote, this them to how you got them to choose the right candidate for for
Uh,
us.
ah, I see, I see, I see. Okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it.
Instead of you saying, "Oh, they're Republican," put the old donkey, the jackass,
Yeah.
or elephant that's just gonna sit there and block up the road.
right, right. So, but so the other thing that that grabbed me was just like Malcolm, and I'm sure it happened to King and other individuals who were developing large voices to rally the black community. There was always Judas and Judases amongst in the midst, and however they came about, there were people. We are always met with people in our group in our midst that don't buy into what's been spoken of, and they have to protect, I guess, their interests. So here you have Mr. O'Neill, what's his name, William O'Neill,
Hmm.
and he was flipped, and because of his misdeeds, his illegal misdeeds, and he was flipped, to become an informant. But even when you look at Malcolm's story, and other, there were people that either didn't believe in what they were saying, didn't buy into it, or just flat out just hated on the fact that here was a black person that you know was saying some things and was getting black people to listen, and we're still buying.
Oh, we lost Irie. We need to get Irie back.
Yeah.
Okay, he's back in.
Okay, yeah, we're still buying into what they were taught on the regular, not by us but by other people. So they became the enemy. So basically it was, they all suffered from the enemy within. They all had people who were there to make sure that they weren't necessarily going to be truly successful in their efforts and their deeds. You know.
The implant. They always had an implant
Oh
to
yeah, there's always some. Yep, yeah. Somebody was always there that was going to, you know, rat on you, tell people what's going on,
Mhm.
because they didn't see the necessity of having such a powerful black voice. You know, um, yeah. I guess people call it, I guess, cooning. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, those are the terminologies I've learned along the way. As certain things are being described to me.
But I would say this, Irie, that along the way you're always gonna have those infiltrators, because anytime you're doing something positive, you're gonna have people working against you from the inside,
Hmm.
and and it'll be the very people that you might not think are trying to put the movement down.
Hmm.
It's just like what Detron is saying right here. The use of secret agents was a large part of the operations, getting people to infiltrate, telling what's going on in the inside, learning what the movements were.
Hmm.
It was in essence they was using guerrilla tactics on us in the United States.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
But
go
you
ahead.
you think that it was easier for them to go that direction, to be informant and and terrorists, as opposed to being a part of the movement? Was it just easier for them to do that?
Well, I'm gonna say like this: you never know what's in somebody mind. Everybody's not built tough. You know, some people what's tough was hard for one person can be real easy for the next person. It's hard for me to turn my back on somebody that I know that's doing righteous. But it's easy for some people to say, "Hey, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That ain't benefiting me. My name ain't being put on it, so I can tear it down."
So you believe that that still continues to be why we have such apathy when it comes to people being a part of not just electoral process but community at large?
100, 100%.
Mhm.
I think that's what they still have that going where it divides the party. That's why how some people say black folks can't get together. You
Is
say
it that,
you.
is it that we can't get together, or we just don't want to?
I think it's a little bit of both. Frank, you
Mm.
look like you wanted to jump in there, like you were ready to hopscotch.
Well, I was going to say, how do y'all think this his story impacted the lives of others during that time?
It's a I would say it was it can affect people two ways. One, they don't want to get involved because like look what he was doing, and they assassinated him. They 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 came in his house and shot him in the head in front of people. You know what I'm saying? Well,
But
it was and,
yeah, but the thing about that is they came in with the intention that you know they just started firing. It's not like we saw you and we shot you. They were just letting bullets off into the dark, and
yeah,
I'm surprised that it was what him and what two other people died with everybody that was in the house. You
yeah.
know that
Because I think one
only
person lost a leg.
yeah. And his baby mama was there. She was still pregnant at the time.
Hmm.
She could have died. Everybody in that house could have died, but they just went in and was like, okay, we're just gonna kill whoever in the house. And basically, when you read at the end, they said over 90 bullets were fired in the house, and I guess one bullet was fired back. So that gave them all the reason to charge everybody in the house for attempted murder.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, you say, "Oh yeah, yeah, y'all try to kill us." You know,
Sound like we in Louisville, Kentucky.
I was just about to say. I was just about to say.
Sound like we in Louisville, Kentucky. you know, well, somebody shoot back in defense, and because you bamming on my door, and y'all bum rush and just shoot up everything in the house, and you charge me. you, you
Yeah,
charge.
and when you go back to the scene when he was in prison and they they surrounded the headquarters, and those people were fighting it out, shooting at the cops, and and stuff like that. At the end, remember when they firebombed the inside the office, the headquarters. So that scene to me was similar to what happened. Fast forward to what happened in Philadelphia to what is it move
Oh,
uh,
when they bombed him.
yeah. So after they had shut up the house and everything, and they got the people out of the house, they literally tore the house down that day. They literally tore the house just so they could there was no investigation. Yeah, they literally tore the house down so they could cover up all the stuff that was supposed to be investigated. So that's just when they went in and firebombed that house, they were basically, protecting themselves. Like, yeah, we can cover up all the evidence and this, that, and the other, and yeah.
I think we're talking about two different things because I think in the bombing in Philadelphia, the people were still in the house. For the one I'm thinking of, when they
Yeah,
bombed.
but after they had got everybody out of the house in Philadelphia, they
Mhm.
tore the house down. Just
You talking about afterwards?
yeah,
Afterwards.
afterwards they tore the house down because they didn't want any of the evidence, whatever evidence was there. It was a way for them to cover up all the evidence, cover up the scene of everything that had gone. So it was left to their word against everybody else's. Police didn't secure the scene, and people were inside documenting what happened. There was a trial about it years later. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing I was saying. And the scene you're talking about in the movie, when that wasn't even portrayed right because technically they never shot first at the police.
Right.
The police started shooting at them, and when they came out, the police beat the living crap out of them.
Hmm. Reminiscent of no knock warrant.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell is in my house? Shit, I'm trying to protect myself. Oh, no, no, no! You trying to kill us?
Yeah, that's the sad thing about that. Black folks feel like we can't even protect ourselves in our own homes.
So go back to your question, in terms of how did all of how is it benefiting, how is it benefiting or impacting us today, or then?
Then I was saying then at the time, because it hasn't gotten totally out there yet. Now I'm saying
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at, I guess, few movements that have evolved after all of that happened. But he got assassinated in what, 68, 69,
69.
69, and it just seems to me that, um, from especially from a younger perspective, because he was a young man. Um, I know, it probably definitely stemmed, a sort of, um, uptick or upswing in how people, because right after that was the 70s, and people were very vocal, coming off Vietnam and all that good stuff, and but everything, people were really, um really wanting to have their voices heard, and a lot of young people were involved. So I think, taking from what happened to him, and you know earlier on, with everybody else, I think people were taking, had a certain, I guess, black exploitation films, Pimps and Superfly, yeah, that too. Um, yeah, for all the films, from a film standpoint, yeah, definitely, and yeah, we were just being used. we, we were pimped. we were pimped out, man. And we didn't have none to say about it, per se. I guess we thought it was okay. Superfly, yeah, I want to be Superfly. Shit. Oh man, we killed politicians and the community organizers and fight those mainstream blacks from revolution to reform. Hmm. Yeah, but how do you see it affecting, the time of the day, Frank? I mean, besides what Detroit is saying about, the black exploitation, and, how do you see it affecting, the people at the time?
just going off generic conversation again because I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I think that they would do all that they could to exploit the black man as, in a negative light. And just as Detron was saying, um, pimps, drug lords, superfly, and things of that nature. How it would impact other people. You have those who are, with him in the movement, and those who are with him, but apprehensively with him because they don't want to get involved and be exposed to any of the repercussions. Um, how it could impact the today's society. Um, it would, I think, ultimately jar the hunger and the thirst for more knowledge in this arena, causing students to put pressure on the educational system and a trickle down effect because this generation has little to no filter, and it would just be about them expressing it the right way.
Okay. So mass incarceration. Okay. So it almost as it seems as if we sort of we let the genie out of the bottle, and they were really struggling to find how they're going to cap it. So with everything that they've done since since that time, I guess until now, Detroit is right. Um, Mass incarcerations were really the thing of the day. From busted. 'Cause he went to jail for what? For over ice cream
Yes, that he didn't do.
that he didn't do. Okay,
Yep.
but and the harassment that he endured. Remember in the movie when the guy when the FBI agent asked how he can get close to him, and the guy said, get in my car because he's been harassed every time he jumps in his car, like how
Hmm.
black men feel today. Like you can't drive down the street without being stopped for no reason per se, but they find a reason to stop you, and next thing you out your car, you feel violated, and a little conversation turns into death. You're going home to go. You went to the store to buy a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. And you get stopped for some stupid shit, and next thing you may not make it home alive.
I got
Or
a story. I got a story about that, Ari. And it's probably I don't know. I know he on YouTube listening. Me and my friend back when we was younger. His dad got a lawn service. Somebody broke into their dad truck and was stole some equipment. So me and him finna ride up to the police station to make the report. We go into the police station. I'm looking in the rear view mirror. I see this car following us. Now, I don't think nothing of it because we going to the police station. We pull in the police station, go inside, make the police report, come back out, get back in the car, pull out before we even get out the parking lot. We pulled over
so you're right there in the vicinity of the police station.
in the police station, and their rational reason was they pulled what they usually say. We pulled the car over because it fit the description of a car that was in a robbery. And I'm looking at them because I tell you, I'm like people tell me my attitude, my voice, I give back. I was like, this car, a brand new Mustang off the lot, was involved in a robbery. This stands out like I don't know what. Who gonna steal a use a brand new Mustang to steal something? This stands out. Well, yeah, sir. This is, but that's what I'm like, man. I saw y'all following us from the beginning. I should have came in the police station with us. You know, if y'all wanted to see what we was doing, we came up here to make a police report.
Hmm.
And they're like, well, we just needed to pull you over and run you. No, you wanted to stop us because you saw two black young men in a car that you
In a brand new Mustang, yes.
yeah, that you think we can't afford. So you think we up to something. And that's the label that as black individuals we get. Stop for no reason. Cause you feel we can't afford something.
So I think so. But so when as you're mentioning that and talking about that, the whole adage that we fit the profile.
Mm-hmm.
We fit the profile of whatever suspect it is. So the other thing that's common, is that as long as you're black, you fit the profile. It just seems to me, as long as you're black, you fit the profile. It doesn't matter if you look like the person, even you just black, and we gonna pull you over because
Mm-hmm.
you're black and you fit the profile. And a lot of people, innocent people, have either gone to jail or I said have died because they fit the profile. They were black.
Mm-hmm.
And as many people were saying, no, that is not me. No, you fit the profile. You know,
And if you don't know how to stand up and question them, you know that's going to be a problem too.
yes. I mean, when you look in, at the treatment that people in the crowd got, how they treated people, um, in the house, or I guess as long as you were in the house, you were a criminal. As long as you're in the house, you're a criminal. Um,
Long as you're in the neighborhood, you're a criminal.
Pretty much, pretty much. And I don't know how, if that's ever going to change. Because this whole thing was, not the movie, but present day, when everybody's there talking about reform and police reform and Blue Lives Matter and this, that, and the other. Um, I'm wanting to understand what exactly is going to be reformed. What was reform looks like, because people keep talking about it, and individuals saying that they're doing certain things, and yes, a little bit here and there, but the main things that concern us are still the main things of today. These are the same as the main things that continuously, put us in harm's way. And we don't have a voice because the police is law, and we can speak out about the ills and the wrongs, and that are being meted out against us. So we're still defenseless. I mean, I know they say shut up and go to jail, and have your day in court, but that's not a given that you will have your day in court. One, most of us that get arrested can't afford to have our day in court.
So you have to plea out.
So you're either pleading out or you're stuck in jail until they try you. And when they try you, you could be as innocent as ever. But you know what? You didn't have you didn't have a good lawyer
Mm-hmm.
to win your case, because you're innocent. A lot of people know you're innocent, but the odds are stacked against you. You know.
And then the hidden agenda that most people don't have. No, I mean, well, most people don't realize is when it comes to that court, attorneys doing favors for another attorneys. Well, I need to get this case done. So if you plead your dude out to this, I get you this, and it's you're selling people's souls. The attorneys are down there playing with people, selling their souls and playing with people's livelihoods and families' livelihoods. Because sending an innocent person to jail can not just affect that person; it can trickle down through the family and set the family on a whole different path.
I guess another way to affect generational wealth, because when you give up that house as collateral in that bond, none had that house in the family for several generations, and here you go, you got to put out the house for for as collateral as bond. It just wreaks havoc on everything that was supposed to go down the line.
Mhm. Neo Nazis too, my brother. Neo Nazis too.
And you just said, person to further harassment. Yeah, you didn't really see that. So maybe that was either a misstep, or just a big hole that was left, or a void that was left to be filled. So my question to that, if, because it seems like there's a trend, no, to sort of tell more of the black story, because people were saying they're tired of you know black stories being told through slavery, and we're just tired of slave stories, and especially when they're not telling the whole story, or telling the truthful aspect of slavery. Shit, we can't even get them to write it in a book correctly. We can't even get them to put it in a book. Period. You know, all this stuff keeps being removed from books. You know, slaves were immigrants. You know, slaves. Like all this foolishness that's these stories that are inaccurately being told and being portrayed.
But we are immigrants. We came over here on a boat.
They didn't have no passport. Shit.
They had no passport either. They migrated us from our lands to this new land.
Forced immigration, but of course, yes. And according to our famous surgeon, yes, we
Mhm.
were, we were immigrants, and we were treated very well. We were fed and clothed and housed. So yes, what's your problem? You
I
know,
will I ask that same token. um, how did the Indians migrate? You know, how did the United States treat the Indian Native Americans in their migration? They didn't migrate on their own. The
well,
government forced them,
force them, yes, force them move different places, kill
and
after killing most of them.
that's the same thing. And in the process of y'all migrating, hey, here goes some blankets to keep y'all warm. Oh, don't worry about that. They just here to keep you warm. They got a little smallpox on them, but they'll do good for y'all.
And I think, like I was saying, the trend, but I think these movies, whoever is taking up the mantle to tell these stories, I mean, I understand, a lot of them have been fought for a long time before Hollywood, you know, deems it viable, as a storytelling medium. But a lot of these people have to go outside of sort of, the box, being independent and independent studios, for them to raise capital to get a lot of these stories told. Look at the story at One Night in Miami. I haven't seen the movie yet, but when you look at those stories, the depiction of those individuals, and to realize how powerful those black men were at the time in their own rights. and to have someone sit down and say, you know what, I've done my research and this is a powerful story to tell, because understanding who is going to affect, on the viewing end, watching this movie, I wish this movie was told, years ago, with more movies like this was told years ago, to see, maybe would have gotten, I don't know, deeper impact, you know, from individuals, not just younger but older people as well.
Well,
Uh,
I'm a piggyback on something that Frank said. This generation has no filter. So when these movies come out, it naturally say it may make you angry. So they have no filter because let's say One Night in Miami been out. It was a play first.
right?
So it's been out into a pack to impact us as a culture, but the culture was not there to just run out and just say confront people like how this generation is. They're in your face about everything.
Okay. Okay. So,
So
so, so you're saying, because of the way this generation is, we should really, advocate for the same thing I'm saying, for more of the stories, and to listen to the voices of the people that's impacted, because it can't just be about anger that we see these films, and we're
mhm.
just rendered, we're just angered by these films. I mean, are we angry that the story is being told, or are we angry that, um, we just didn't get a fair shake? And what exactly is what's the anger? I mean, I understand that, but shouldn't we be asking, why are we angry, so people can talk more about why they're angry? It's not just about the cops. Cops are, there's so many things, and are our voices being given the right platforms to voice that anger? And it can't just be in protest alone. um, you know how are we voicing our anger so that it can be effective?
I agree with you. It should motivate. It should motivate you. The anger should motivate you to get out and do something. And one thing that we talked about this in the past, leadership, about somebody stepping forward and picking up the mantle. And I've been told so many times, we don't need one person to lead. Why not? That's this generation is like, we don't need somebody to lead us. You need somebody to organize and put it together and get it moving forward. And that's what these movies should do. The anger from this movie should propel you in that direction.
Should. um,
Yes, should.
should. you know so you think that's the thought process of the people making these movies? Is it just for Hollywood, or are we supposed to leave, you know with with thoughts to pursue, and to be more emboldened about what we just saw, and to be able to speak on the narrative? I mean, are we being emboldened to do that? Or we just see the film? Are we doing what we're doing here in small bubbles, talking about it, as opposed to, what we need, more platforms, publicly, to discuss and come up with better solutions, for the things that, if we're if we're feeling anger, to speak on that. For that, I think, yeah. So, but you're right in saying that there's no structured leadership, and I think with every movement, And to move anything forward, you definitely need not just the leadership, but the organization aspect of the leadership. Because even if one person comes, one person alone can't do it. You need people. You need around that nucleus, for that movement, for one, to stay alive, and you need growth in the movement for it to propel it forward. So I don't see us. There's no movement, right now. I mean, if you're looking at just Black Lives Matter, it has its problems, you know, because there's no sort of unified leadership and organization around the leadership that's trying to propel that movement forward.
All right, I'm gonna backtrack to what you said at the beginning. We got to remember, you said is it to make money? It's Hollywood. Their first priority is for it to make money. Now, as the actor that takes on this role, that it should be them who wants to portray the role to get someone active and out there. They want to bring that aspect to move you, to create that passion for you to get out and want to do something
You mean through their performance?
through their performance.
Mm,
It's not about the company that's producing the movie. It's more to me about that actor getting
but,
you portraying that role that speaks to you in that way.
mm. But I think a lot of these performances do speak to a lot of us, but it seems that it gets left at the movie theater door, or in the car. Oh, that was a great movie. That was a great performance. You know, what does a performance motivate you to do? You know, is it just to be angry, or are you motivated to go start something? I don't think, in essence, the movies of our times that are depicting these stories, I don't think they do that. And I don't think a lot of people much care after that. You've watched the movie, and it's like, okay, next we want something else to entertain us.
And I agree with you with that it once I think is the aspect of what you said. Now that we consumed that, we're on to something else. And when you need to marinate on that, not just consume it and move on. Get it marinated. Think about it. What can we do to, like I said, to push this? But it's all on people, and then it needs this, Irie. It needs them to have pride. Because if you have pride about it, you're gonna go ahead and try to push for something about it.
Okay. Hmm.
Now I would ask that about that. You can scream all day that you melanated, but what you doing to push forward, push that culture forward, to educate it and uplift the culture.
So let me ask you something. So, with our voices, do you think, no? Yeah. Do you think that we are still subjugated to fear, because of fear for whatever the retribution is going to be, that we are not um, more actively letting our voices be heard, in a grander way? Are we still fearful of retribution, and how much so?
I would say 85%. Mostly everybody out there would be 85. You're afraid of what other people would think. You're afraid of losing your job. You're afraid of not being accepted by other people. You know, it cuts many ways. But if you take on, I'm not afraid of what might happen, long as I'm there for the betterment of the community and the culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, I think we're still living. We're still because of the way, especially when we're all talking about cancel culture. Now that's the catchphrase. Of the last several years, cancel culture, and you know, being a black person in this country, you're easily canceled. You know, um, just the fact that you start to speak out. I mean, this country has 660 billionaires, and out of 660 billionaires, I think what maybe between 8 and 10 of them, maybe up close to now 15, I think, are black people.
Hmm.
You know, and the thing that I see in this country, it doesn't matter how successful you are as a black person, how much money you have as a black person, you can be quote unquote eliminated. What taken out of the race, taken out. You know, it just has a way of doing that, and seem as if they all seem still know their place. Yeah, I'm a billionaire, but I still got to know my place.
Well, to answer your question too, it is, well, I just looked up. It says only seven.
Okay, so I was right the first time, but I would say 8 to 10, but okay.
It's only seven, seven
Black
billionaire. Yep, and we can probably name them all. That's the sad part. Who you? Let me see. Let me mess with Frank. Who you name me two of them, Frank?
Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James.
Nah, LeBron ain't make that. He not there yet.
Okay, all
He
right.
not there yet.
Oprah,
Mike,
no,
Oprah.
the tech guy that donated funds to the HBCUs to cancel
Morehouse.
out their debts. He's a billionaire. I can't remember. I
Yeah,
don't remember his
Robert
name.
Smith,
Yeah, he's a billionaire.
number one, the number one billionaire, black billionaire.
Hmm.
David Stewart, IT as well, is the number two. After that, entertainment and sports, and
So
that's the side part about it, that we don't have no wealth.
right. So their wealth is their wealth. Okay,
Hmm.
their wealth is their wealth. And I know because of their philanthropic exploits, we know that they do things to help different types of communities. They do. They do provide a lot of philanthropic projects. Charitable to different groups, and so they do try to help people, whether in this country and in other places as well. But the thing that just amazes me, whether you're black or white, that how we can have all this wealth and still have as much problems as we do in this country. Um, that's the thing that literally blows my mind. When it comes to what can be fixed and what could be fixed easily in a lot of places. You know, but do you think that we create you know our own problems within our own group and our own race, so that they're probably that much more difficult to fix because we're not cooperative within our own group.
I think is I keep saying this. It plays two ways because we're brainwashed. we're brainwashed into thinking that way, not being cooperative with one another. You know, and it's also the American system that's built to operate that way on us.
Hmm.
So we have to fight through and deep. The biggest thing we have to do is deprogram ourselves
To what? To
to be able to move as one and work together.
hmm, deprogram ourselves. Wow, that seems like a task. That it seems like a very daunting task. For us to get to the point where we can accept the fact that we need to be we should be deprogrammed in order to wean ourselves. And Deitron speaks about this all the time. How we wean ourselves off of a system, that doesn't allow for us to truly be independent,
Hmm.
to get to a point where you can acknowledge a certain amount of freedom, freedom from the system, because we are creating our own. I know, a lot, we have within our culture, yes, a lot of individuals and companies who have started a lot of businesses. A lot of small businesses are black owned. A lot of
Hmm.
them are. But a lot of small businesses, because we tend not to be collaborative in our efforts, and I think we mentioned this last week or the week before, because we're not collaborative and learning how to work together, a lot of our business fail, or they don't rise to the level that we aspire.
Hmm.
You know, we are still okay. I'm in it. I'm gonna get my bag. I'm gonna get my Gucci, my Prada, my Chanel. You know, I'm going to get my stuff.
Hmm.
You worry about your stuff. You know, and then when everybody has gotten their Gucci and their Chanel and their Prada and everything, they're just sitting there. Well, you could you this is instead of help devising more ways, the template, show us how that template works, you know, and so to help others up. I made a post on Twitter recently, and I said, you can't always be thinking about you capital. I said sometimes you need to send the elevator back down, because there are a lot of people who would like to enjoy that ride up. So I think a lot of us get to a point where we took the trip up, and we got as far up as we could at the time, and the elevator, the call button is has been dismantled.
Hmm.
We don't send the car back down to help people back up. You know.
Well, I agree with that because if you they still people are worried about still rising when you uplift somebody else that can help uplift you even more, but people don't even think about that. They just think about, as you say, me or you.
I mean, yeah, me or you. Which is the thing that's the number one thing that we still have to contend with. And I know everybody is always thinking about their future, and especially kids and family, and what you're going to leave for your kids, and how you're helping your kids maneuver and navigate. Hopefully they don't make the same mistakes that you made. Where if you're looking out for your kids, the next generation, you're trying to pave a way that doesn't have as much obstacles, in their path, you know. But like you said, you know, but I think a lot of younger people are starting to understand that they too now can create different avenues um, that is not dependent on what their parents taught them. Totally different mindset, you know.
But I can say this too for as African American. Some I'm not saying all, but I've seen some aspect of African American community and in there that the parents they like you said don't believe in generational wealth. I fought to get this. I worked hard to get this. You got to work hard to get yours. So now I'm not finna help you get yours. You got to get it yourself, and
Mm.
not that I build a platform for you to catapult you to even higher than I got. You know, you got to start from the bottom and get yours too. When it doesn't work for that, like for other people and other cultures and other races like that. They're trying to give their children the best foot forward.
What do you say, Frank?
That
So,
segues into
feeling
that
in the
segues
context.
into today's educational system. And that's why you have so many students failing right now because the parents aren't willing to push their children um, to be better than what they were, and they know the true them and how they were in high school and middle school and elementary school and whatnot. They know the problems that they had academically, but when you're in a position to support your own, your very own, your DNA, why? What's the problem?
Hmm.
What's the problem?
Hmm.
I guess you don't have time for that because you're too busy doing other things. It's I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. There's a will, there's a way.
Hmm.
That goes back to like this, Frank, when they too busy out there getting theirs and they in the Chanel and the Gucci and all this. Then you look at the kid might have some on decent or some little shoes, but they mind empty.
Yeah, yeah,
So Frank, basically you're saying so the mindset of the people who are raising the next generation is that it's still about the materialism of today. Just you're fulfilled as long as you can get some of those material things. As long as you get some of those material things, you're good. You know, and but we're not teaching them how to get or create, structures, not just to buy those things, but to own, a lot of those things, own pieces of companies, stocks. Yes, more people are investing in stocks and stuff like that. But, you know, I know you do a financial um, segment in your core curriculum, right?
right, right,
Right. So we need more people like you in the educational system who are going to now take it upon themselves to say, hey, look, this is what's really important. Yes, good grades is great, but you also need to understand, you know, this other side over here, um, whether you're being taught a skill outside of just being educated, by books and smarts and stuff like that. But you need to be taught and understand the relevance and the importance of what it means to be sustainable, self-sustainable after you've gone through the system. How do you become, self-sustainable? What's
Okay,
important? Just buying a bag or owning a company that can make a bag that you can sell for $1,000.
okay, I'm gonna put it in their terms right now. So you want to put that money phone to your ear, right? What you gonna do to invest that money to keep that money phone up to your ear? how you going how you gonna invest it into it, make money, how you gonna spend it, how you gonna put it back into your family in other different ways.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, that is something to look to look into. That's something that they need to understand. And the problem with a lot of that stuff is that they're not paying for any of that stuff. The
That's it.
phone, that they're not paying for any of that stuff. They don't have jobs that they're using expending monies to pay for that stuff. We the parent, the parents. I don't mean, okay, you're young, is what's happening. So you must have these tools. But now we should be, there should be a system, where you should be able to learn how to utilize said tools now, um, you know, to make it to work for you as well. It's not just okay, I'm 12 years old and I got the newest iPhone. You should be 12 years old and the latest iPhone and know how, to truly understand, what that computer means. And maybe, I should start learning coding. If I'm a video game freak, let me start learning how to code and develop new games for systems. You know, um, you know, Understanding how to pull that phone apart or what have you. Understand the systems behind the technology. Wanting to go into tech, wanting to learn how to be a part of the tech world, so you can, at a young age you're going to start, learning how to be entrepreneurs and business people. You know.
All right,
Uh,
the fact checker done hit me with it. The clock on the wall says it all. It's time to
But
get.
answer that question though, that the fact checker, if you leave this generation without guidance, what is to become of their anger? It's an interesting question.
Hmm,
Where is it just there? Is it displaced? You know,
I think
you
it's
know,
just
seems to be
displacing.
angry about something. There's just no way. It doesn't seem there's a way to hone their anger or channel their anger into something productive.
I think it's displaced and displayed in a different manner. I would say somewhat, as
Yeah.
I said, question for all the adult parents. That's
hmm,
true.
Hmm.
yeah.
They're gonna grow up and just wonder about playing games.
Right, and that can't, it can't just be that. I think everybody that's of our generation. When you look back at how we grew up, yes, we grew up in a freer time.
Mhm.
Um, and I think a lot of us at times wish we could really impart some of that thing, but it will just seems like it will just go on deaf ears, because everybody that becomes a parent always says that they are becoming their parents. And some people shy away from being who their parents were. Some people go totally left field. My parents were strict. No, I'm not going to be strict. My parents taught me how, why I should, value hard work. No, you can just stay home and, if I tell you to what, clean up the house, I come home and the house is still messy, and, you know, you don't, there's no, um, nothing to be said about it. You know,
Yeah. I say in everything.
that's a whole
And,
lot of topic.
yeah, and
this is
everything.
this is
As I
coming from
told
this is
one of my
coming
students
from the
today.
non-parents.
Hmm,
This is
yeah,
coming from the non-parents.
one example of me teaching finance, and then that's the practical portion. But when stuff gets real, a few of my students are starting to see it now.
Hmm.
I had two students, class of 2018. Now they're 21 years old. Both of them lost their mothers in January.
Oh wow.
One of them, and it was both suddenly. One of them was to cancer, but the other, she had abdominal pain. They went to the hospital. Boom, deceased. And it's like, whoa. Um, but one of the students has a father there, so there's a balance somewhat. The other one, it was only he and his mom that lived down here. His dad lives in New York. Um, the rest of their family lives in another country and things like that. Um, but he just inherited at 21 years old a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom townhome, another car. It's a 2010, but it's another car. Um, and she left him. She knew her day was coming, and she left him. A good bit of money through policies to take care of things. I just told him yesterday, I said, man, I don't need you to run through that money. Please don't run through that money, because I don't want to see you broke, and you know where that could go, on his mental state. So I've been trying to guide him through that process, but um, I told him the day of the funeral, or no, before the funeral, I said, you're about to grow up real quick, just because that's, you know, he's having to live a life now that I have not lived yet. And so, you know, a lot of that is, it becomes real.
Now he got to pay. Now he got to pay the bills for real.
Right, right, right.
He's gonna see. Now he's gonna be like, "Hey, hold on, yeah, man, y'all cut that light off," because
Yeah,
they're gonna feel like that's the neighborhood hangout now.
right, right, right.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Well, the other thing that I'd say before I go, is that I think, especially when we're looking at, you know, the younger generation and how a lot of things impact them, their mantra is "show me." You know, show me what works. You know, it needs to be very literal. It can't be in theory per se. How do you, if how do you make money off of flipping houses? Because the bottom line for them is, is getting bags. If you want, how we gonna make, how can I make some money? How do I make money the way you made money? How do you? I want to be successful like you per se. So it's show me, or if you can't show me, I'm going to rely on the resources that's around me, i.e., my friends. I'm going to do what they do, whether that's above board or below board. Because they see from what their friends are doing. So if you're going to come in and say to them, hey, this works, this works, this works, they're like, well, show me. That's what they want to see.
Yep. With that, like I said, the clock on the wall says it all. I know somebody got to get these kids in the classroom in the morning.
Hmm.
So with that, I'm gonna call it a night for this week's episode. Um. So, any last thing you want to say, Ari?
If you haven't seen the movie, definitely see the movie. Judas, The Black Messiah, and any other films that surround, um, information about individuals, historical, individuals, that have impacted our culture and our communities in, how things have happened. If we haven't seen movies, you know, like me, try to be. I think in at our core, each one of us, I believe, are truth seekers. Um, so I feel that if it's important to you, then you should go out and find and seek the truth that is important to you. Um, the truth in history, the truth in the history of our culture, especially in this country. As an immigrant, um, I know a good deal about where I come from. So now, because it's important to me, because why? It impacts me. I live here, and as I was saying to a friend of mine today, when I walk out the street, someone that hates me doesn't care that I'm from Jamaica, or I could be from the Bahamas, or I could be from Barbados, or I could be from Africa. The only thing that they see is that I'm black, and so if it's important to you to learn and understand, what happened, you know, to cultures in the place that you live, then you should go out and seek that truth.
All right. You got something you want to say, Frank, before we sign off this week?
Well, I look forward to seeing the movie, and I do like movies about history. Um, I feel that the purpose of the creators of those movies, first of all, first and foremost, is to make money, but the other purpose is to educate, enlighten, and inspire. Um, how in whatever form that comes in, and however it comes, and hopefully it's a positive platform, but for change. Um, in time, hopefully that's always done. But that's it. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And
All right. I'm gonna call it a night for this week's episode of the Bridge. Catch y'all next week, the same time, same